Alrighties, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Devil's Den. So, we're back. We just had the 2 days of the NHL draft for 2024. Couple of moves that New Jersey has made over the last day or two. Some good ones, some that I'm not quite sure how I feel about, but I'm going to try to give you guys as much information as I possibly can. I've never been much of the analytic person behind the game of hockey, so I'm going to do my best, so please bear with me. I have written basically everything down that I kind of wanted to say. But yeah, so let's go over 2024 draft for the New Jersey Devils. All of the trades and moves that have gone down over the last 2 days. So we're going to start with something nice and easy, okay? Instead of talking about the big trades, we'll hold those till the end. And we're just going to talk about our number 10 overall pick and some of the draft picks that sort of traded hands between teams. So first and foremost, I want to get this off the bat. At number 10 in the first round, the New Jersey Devils have picked Anton Saleev. I'm praying that I get that name done properly. If not, oh freaking well. I'm doing my best here. So Anton Saleev, New Jersey picks at number 10 in the first round. So what do we know about the kid? First of all, he's a left-handed defenseman. So this is another defenseman that New Jersey is going to be adding to their prospect pool and into their AHL level system to sort of benefit more of the rookie and more of the, second, third year defenseman that New Jersey has, like Nemitz, like Hughes, things like that. So more rookie defenseman. What does this mean for Tom Fitzgerald? For me personally, it looks like Fitzgerald is trying to go back to the days of building from the net outward. It looks like now with the addition of Jacob Markstrom and Jake Allen, it looks like that Tom Fitzgerald is trying to build a stronger defensive game and worry about the offense a little bit later. Now, it totally could be that Fitzgerald feels like, well, I don't need to worry about offense right now, considering that we have all of the offense this team could ever dream of having, and more if the rumors are true. But it looks like he's trying to build up that back end on the back of having Jacob Markstrom as your starting goaltender. So, left-handed defenseman. He is 6'7" at 207 pounds. Now, what this makes me seem like, it seems like you're going to have this behemoth of a giant on the back end that's just going to absolutely crush people if they try to walk up to the blue line. I've heard a couple of people here and there, a couple of newspapers, a couple of NHL insiders compare him to Zdeno Chara, which I feel like is a bit of a stretch considering we don't know much about this kid besides the fact that he's 6'7" and will probably end up being like 6'9" on skates. So beside his size, which could be a detriment to his speed and agility, it looks like he's just going to be a big body that you're going to have on the defensive end of the puck, which is fine. I think it's all right considering it feels like a lot of teams right now are gearing up on the physical end of the puck. You're seeing the Maple Leafs do that with their signing of Chris Tanev and Ryan Reeves and all these other guys. So we'll see what happens. It'll be very interesting. I don't see him coming up to play for New Jersey for at least 2, 3, maybe 4 years if he doesn't get traded as an asset for something else later down the road, but we'll see. So that was our number 10 pick. I'm not going to go through all of the picks that we made, but that's the big one. The first round, 10th overall pick, Anton Saleev. So moving on, let's get into some of the more easier and more comfortable trades. First and foremost, the New Jersey Devils traded with the Washington Capitals. New Jersey receives a 2024 third rounder, so for this year, and a 2024 fifth round. The Capitals receive a 2024 third round pick. Now, I double checked where in the third round these picks are coming from because both teams are basically giving a third round for a third round and a fifth round. It looks like they were 82nd and 85th in the third round. So we're really not losing anything here, and you're getting an additional 5th round pick, and we all know that there have been some absolute gems, whether it's in the NHL, the NFL, the NBA, where people get drafted way, way, way late into the draft, and they become absolute gems. Jesper Bratt is one of those people. So there's that one. Next one, New Jersey Devils receive a 3rd round in this year's draft, and a 6th round in next year's draft for a 2024 3rd round pick to the San Jose Sharks. So, again, what is this? It's a 3rd round this year for a 3rd round this year, and we're getting an additional 6th round pick in next year's draft. So this is basically, hey, I'm going to give you a 3rd rounder, you're going to give me a 3rd rounder, and you're going to give me another 6th rounder. So it's looking like Fitzgerald is trying to stock up on additional draft picks for a little bit later in the draft for this year and upcoming years. All right? And this is the one that absolutely gutted me. Absolutely gutted me when I heard about it. So this was a trade between the New Jersey Devils and the Utah Hockey Club. God, I hope they change that name. The Utah Hockey Club sounds so stupid. It sounds so dumb. However, the New Jersey Devils trade John Marino and a 2024 5th round pick, so that's for this year's draft. In response, the New Jersey Devils receive a 2024 2nd round pick and a 2025 2nd round pick. Now, this one I need to vent about, okay? I know that Marino did not have the best year last year, but if you're playing defense on this team, who really did? Nemeth had a pretty good standout year, but we're looking at a rookie guy. And to be clear, this is not to take away from Nemeth in any capacity, but I don't really know of any defenseman on our team besides Nemeth who had a good or halfway decent year this year. And it's too bad because last year, John Marino played absolutely fantastic, and he has been one of my favorite defensemen on this team. So I am absolutely gutted that they traded John Marino away. However, the fact that we had to give up Marino and a 5th round pick for 2 2nd round picks for this year and next year, if I'm looking at this from a asset to receiving, I would say that New Jersey comes out on this trade on top. A 2nd round pick is way more than I thought that we would get from Marino. I was thinking 3rd or 4th round, but I digress. We get 2 2nd rounds, one for this year, one for next year, for Marino, and a 5th round pick. I still hate that Marino gets traded. I would have been okay with him being a 6th or 7th defenseman this year. But if the rumors are true that Fitzgerald is essentially gearing up to grab guys like Pesce from Carolina to try to add to the older, more, I wouldn't say veteran, but older, really high-skilled defensemen that New Jersey is going for, it feels like John Marino is an unfortunate casualty of having to do that. Could they have gotten rid of Siegenthaler? Maybe, but I believe Marino is younger, and he has a lot more potential than I think Siegenthaler does. So do I like that we got rid of Marino? Not really, but for what we're giving up and the alternatives of another defenseman that we would have had to give up to get what we got, I feel like that's just going to happen. Because Brendan Smith at this point, you're not getting anything in return for him, and we can use him as a forward. So you're either giving up Hamilton, Siegenthaler, who's older than Marino, Nemeth, or Luke Hughes. You're not getting rid of Nemeth. You're not getting rid of Hughes. You're not getting rid of Hamilton. And you're not getting anything for Smith. You're just not. I'm sorry. You're just not. So that's that trade. Now, finally, we come to the big one. The biggest trade, acquisition, switcheroo that everyone is talking about. So the New Jersey Devils made a trade with the Vegas Golden Knights. New Jersey Devils, this is what I was worried about. New Jersey gives Vegas Akira Schmid and Alexander Holtz for Paul Cotter and a 2025 third-round pick. Now, I'm just gonna get rid of this for a second. I'll pick it up later. But let's just have a frank conversation about this. I think that this was probably the right play for Fitz. Do I like what we got in return? Not really. But I'm not sure what I was expecting to get back for what we gave up. So let me explain. Okay, let me explain. Let's start with Schmid. So Akira Schmid was realistically going to play in the AHL for the majority of this year. I personally think that with the number of games that he has played in the NHL, that putting him back in the AHL for another year or two is going to not only set him back physically in his development, but also is going to essentially kill the mental side of the game. And if anyone knows anything about goaltenders, is if they're not mentally present, their career is basically gone. Not only that, but it feels like Akira Schmid was basically not going to be realistically, in the lineup for any games that New Jersey plays this year. Between having Markstrom as a starter, between having Allen as a backup, between having, I don't know if Kakinen's contract is officially run out yet or if it's next year, having potentially Kakinen on the roster and having Mikko Dawes on the roster, it really feels like Schmid is the fifth goalie in this position. Maybe he switches out with Schmid, but he's still the fourth or fifth goaltender on New Jersey's roster. There's too many of them. And again, with Markstrom coming in, it was sort of an inevitability that you're going to be getting rid of Schmid. Does it suck? Yes. Is it necessary? It sort of feels like it. I think we should all just take a moment of silence for the performance that we will never, ever, 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 ever forget, as long as I'm alive, that Akira Schmid did to put us on his back in last year's playoffs against the Rangers. The man was absolutely phenomenal, and I hope that when he goes to Vegas, that he has all of the career good fortune that he does, and he gets a chance to shine, because I do think that it's possible for him to shine. So kudos to Schmid. It was very nice having him on the team, but unfortunately there were casualties. This just seems to be one of them. Now, the question here then is, what about Alexander Holtz? This, I think, is a tougher conversation to have. Because a lot of people, Lindy Ruff, and a lot of professional analysts and coaches, especially in the international community, have talked about how Alexander Holtz essentially has no defensive game whatsoever. He is a one-trick pony with basically the ability to shoot and skate, but he cannot defend for his life, which is why he was receiving so little time on the ice during last year. Now, did he produce with the time that he had? Absolutely. He 100% did. There is no way of getting around that. But it feels like if New Jersey is going to be signing another depth forward this year, it feels like Holtz, like Schmid, is going to be the last man out. And it feels like, and even, by the way, I don't know if it was Keefe who said this or it was Fitzgerald who said this, that he was basically going to be used as a spare forwards this year. So there's not really anything that Holtz can contribute anymore to this team in the role that they were going to play him as. Now, you can disagree with Fitzgerald's statement, but this is the reality. This is the piece they were going to this was going to be the position that they were going to have him fill this year. And again, he's still an incredibly young kid, so it's totally possible that he goes to Vegas and completely shines. And like Schmid, I hope he does. I hope that Vegas can use him in a way that is more beneficial to their team than what he was used for New Jersey. And hey, if he goes out and flops, then he flops. I hope he doesn't. I hope he shines in Vegas, because it's always really cool seeing guys get traded from New Jersey and then watching them shine on other teams. Sharon Govich on the Flames is a huge one. Dude got 30 goals this year for the first time in his entire career, and he's getting first line time, which is incredible. So now that we've talked about what we've given up, let's talk about what we got in response. So New Jersey gets a 2025 third-round pick, which I feel like is probably about what you are going to be getting for Schmid or Holtz. And we're getting a depth forward that's probably going to be used in the third or fourth line, Paul Cotter. Now, until today, I had never heard of this guy, and I watched the Vegas series. So let's talk about Paul Cotter for a second. So Paul Cotter has played 138 games in the NHL. He's scored 22 goals, 23 assists, 45 points, and his plus-minus is a -15. So stats-wise, he's really nothing to write home about. 45 points in 138 games played. So he's getting what? A goal or a point every what? Every third game or so? He's not really anything to write home about. But this is why I think Fitzgerald traded for him. 6 foot, 2 inches, 213 pounds, and he's 24 years old. Now, I went over and I double-checked what Fitzgerald saw in Paul Cotter. He talked about wanting to bring, again, like the pick that we had in the first round this year with Saleyev, he's looking for a bigger, heavier, grittier guy to head up his third and fourth line, and he's 24 years old. So this guy is still young, and Fitzgerald says that he sees a lot of potential in Cotter that he feels like might have been wasted in Vegas, but he thinks that he can bring out in New Jersey. Now, only time is going to be able to tell on that one, but we'll see. I hope he shines, but I feel like this is going to be a fourth line grinder that's basically going to go around and just friggin' demolish people. He's just going to walk up, he's going to check them, he's going to be a hard checker, hard hitting, hard playing on the puck kind of guy. You're not going to get a lot of offensive production out of him, but that's fine because he's playing on the fourth line, okay? So, overall with that trade, we get Cotter in the third round for Schmid and Holtz. It's a weird trade. There's a lot of different ways you can go about looking at it. I think it's probably a decent move, but I also think it possibly in the future could go really bad really quickly. If you get nothing out of Cotter, if Fitzgerald is wrong and you get nothing out of Cotter, then you've traded Schmid and Holtz for a third. I don't know. It's a weird one. So, that was everything for New Jersey the last 2 days. That was the draft. Those were the big moves. I know I'm not going to list down all of the picks of every single pick that we made this year, because we had a lot of picks this year. But yeah, those are sort of the big moves. The Marino trade, the Schmid trade, the Holtz trade, the 10th overall first round pick that we got in Saleyev, another young defenseman. But yeah, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Discuss in the comments. If you agree with what I've said, wonderful. If you disagree with what I've said, which is the ones I actually like the most, let me know in the comments. Let me know, guys, what you think of Fitzgerald's decisions for the 2024 draft. I will see you guys in the next one, and I'm not sure when the next one will be. It'll probably be a free agency signing, but until then, guys, talk to you later, and I will see you guys in the next video.